All right, I'm Mike Willis with USA Wrestling. We've got another Team USA Tuesday interview for you. I'm joined by national team member Jamel Johnson. Jamel, how are you doing today?
Doing pretty good, man.
Good to hear. We got a list of questions for you. Are you ready to hop into it?
Let's go.
Yep, let's do it. All right, first off, what is your favorite movie?
Favorite movie, I think it's tied Interstellar and Men of Honor. I know that you asked for one, but it's tied for me.
Fair. I've never seen Man of Honor. I have seen Interstellar. That one's great. That's a fun one to wrap your head around.
Yeah.
Favorite musical artist?
J. Cole,
Favorite food?
pizza.
You got favorite toppings for pizza, or are you just a plain cheese guy?
I know this is, I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for this, but I'm a Hawaiian type of guy. I like pineapple on my pizza.
See, I'm not going to give you too much flack for that, but I don't like ham that much, so I'm a pineapple and pepperoni kind of guy, which is probably even worse to some folks than
I could probably get down with that. I never had it, but I could probably get down with that.
yeah. Probably not my go-to, but that if I'm doing pineapple, that's what I'm doing. What is your favorite sport to watch other than wrestling?
Ugh, I don't really watch any other sports. I guess if I had to, it's going to be football. I grew up playing football, so if I had to, I'll watch football. I think I only watch the Super Bowl.
So you don't have a team?
No, not really. I mean, growing up, I liked St. Louis Rams, but they're not even in St. Louis anymore. It was Marshall Faulk, Warner, but I grew out of that once I started wrestling.
Yeah, I am an Eagles fan and was an Eagles fan growing up, so I remember that team with Warner and Falk beating us in the NFC Championship game years ago, and obviously still haven't let that go. It's a little bitter. So besides football, did you play any other sports growing up?
Yeah, my first sport I played was baseball. I played that for a while, and then I got into football. Football was, everything. And then high school, I started wrestling to stay in shape for football. And then after that, I just kind of wanted to quit football. But my dad was like, "No, you started it. You're gonna play until your senior year." And I did one track race. I wouldn't even say a season. I did one race. It was 200 meters, and I was like, never again.
What position did you play in football?
I started off cornerback, and then by my senior year, I was a running back. Those two.
Yeah. Those are two of the objectively best positions to play.
I don't know about all that. I was decent. I wasn't, a superstar or anything. You got to remember I was like 5'5", 140 pounds, so I wasn't that much of a threat, but I could move and take a lot of hits.
Fair enough. Who is your favorite wrestler to watch, either past or present?
Favorite wrestler to watch? Ooh. Man, that's a tough one. That is a tough one. Favorite wrestler to watch? I do like watching John Smith because, everybody grows up with folk style. He was like when I was first introduced to wrestling, my coach, he was an older guy. So John Smith, I would say John Smith.
Fair enough.
Now it's like Jordan. I like watching Jordan wrestle.
Yeah. So what are some of your hobbies currently off the mat?
Off the mat, I mean, mainly just playing with my kids. If I can go fishing, I would love that. But that's a task in itself, trying to get a 5-year-old to cast his reel, and then he's got a bird nest, and then I have to untangle that. But just playing with my kids. Sometimes we go on nature walks in the woods, look at stuff, just adventures and stuff like that.
How many kids do you have?
3.
Oh, boy. What ages?
5, 3, and 8 months. I actually delivered my daughter in this room. It was not planned. It was like an emergency birth. It was crazy. But yeah, that was crazy.
Holy cow! What happened? If you don't mind sharing a little bit.
Well, I was just coming back from Military World Games out in Wuhan, and what is it? I walked in the house at 1:00 in the morning on the 30th of October. You know, my wife's she's due like any day. I get home, regular day, wake up at 6:00. You know, take the boys to daycare. I stayed home, and you know, we walked around the house and, you know, walked around the neighborhood trying to like induce the labor. Thank God that I made it at least before she had the baby. And then 8:00 came around and I was exhausted after being in China for like 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, and then, you know, flying back. And 8:00 comes around. I'm like, hey, like, you know, can I take a nap? You think you're going to be okay? And she was like, oh yeah, like take a nap. I'll be fine. Like, you know, right now I'm chilling. Then 2 hours go by, you know, she taps me on my shoulder and she's like, hey, like, I think we should probably go to the hospital. She had such a nonchalant attitude about it that I was calm. I was like, oh, okay. Like, I get up and like, I'm brushing my teeth, you know, she jumps in the shower, you know, as she's, you know, getting out of the shower, her water breaks. And, you know, I kind of lost it a little bit. I was like, all right, we got to go to the car. I call, you know, one of my teammates to come watch my sons while we go to the hospital, and literally couldn't make it, man. Couldn't make it. By the time he got to the house, I had already delivered my daughter on our bedroom floor, like probably 5 steps away from where her water broke. And it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. I never want to do it again. But it was definitely a moment. She's the only girl, so we're definitely gonna have that bond forever.
Wow. I can't even imagine. I'm kind of speechless with that one. I don't even know what you said.
It was crazy. I mean, it's weird, man, because like in the moment, like it probably took maybe 2 minutes, but like in my reality, like my perception of everything that's going on, it felt like an hour, you know. And then Terrence, he walks in the door and he's like, the baby, like you have the baby's out, like, you know. And I was like, I know, bro, I don't know what happened. Like, she couldn't hold it. And he was like, what in the world? So yeah, but we called the ambulance and got her to the hospital that night. And yeah, we were the talk of the hospital that day.
Yeah, did people tell you good job? Did you get like pats on the back and
yeah, they're like, wow. It's like most people, you know, freak out. I mean, I called 911, I guess like during the process, and that wasn't really any help because I can't like listen to her and like pay attention to, you know, to my wife. So after the baby came out, I just hung up the phone and the lady was like, goodbye. I didn't even say goodbye. But my wife's a trooper, man. She's a trooper.
Wow. So is it hard to balance, you know, 3 young kids, a military career, and a professional athletic career?
Yes. Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, it definitely has its ups and downs. It's definitely a juggling act, but I mean, it's my life and I enjoy it too, you know, like, because you have to try to do as much as you can with this life before, you know, you're old and frail and you're sitting on a porch drinking iced tea or something, you know, like, but it's definitely a lot on my plate right now, but I'm enjoying it every day.
Very cool. So you can take this question seriously or you can kind of take it in a funny way, but what is your biggest fear?
My biggest fear. I would say my biggest fear is not trying. Like if I don't try something, and it's like with everything, like it could be like food or an adventure or like, you know, maybe we'll go to Norway and jump in the water, but it's freezing cold, but like, hey, you're in Norway, might as well do it, you know? Like, yeah, fear. I have like a big fear of not trying things. Even in, me and Kayla Williams, past world team member, 2-time world team member. We were in Korea, and what was that? That was for the military world games as well. And we tried octopus, like live octopus legs. And I absolutely did not want to try it, but I had to. I was like, I'm in Korea. This is like a delicacy. That's what the guy's telling me. And, you know, the guy chops his legs off. He throws like some oil, some sesame seeds on it. They're still moving. He tells us, make sure you chew it or you can die because it can like get caught in your throat and suction cups. But he is not lying. Like, you put it in your mouth and like it was like sticking to the inside of like my cheek. It was sticking to my teeth. I was terrified, but you had to try things. You only live once, man.
So you wouldn't do octopus again, no, live octopus?
No. That was an experience. I'm all about the experience. I'm not going to do it again, though.
Was there anything like reverse of that? Like you tried something that you totally expected to dislike or not be a fan of that ended up being really enjoyable?
I mean, I would like something like the octopus. I hated that. That was like disgusting, but not really. I wouldn't say it's never enjoyable because, you know, all we have in life is like our experiences, you know, and the people that we experience it with. It's not even so much like, you know, where you're at or stuff like that. I tied that moment with, you know, being at the military world games with one of my best friends, Caleb Williams, you know, like, and that's a moment that we can always talk about if we ever get, remember that time that, you know, we tried the octopus? Oh, it was disgusting. I hated it. But, you know, that's an experience that now that we have together. And, you know, I kind of look at it like that, even if I don't like it. But it's who you're with.
Fair enough. So you're kind of in the thick of it right now with your wrestling career. But do you have plans or an idea of what you want to do after you're done competing?
Yeah, after I'm done competing, I'm definitely going to stay in the Marine Corps, finish out my career here. After that, like, I would really like to have, you know, my own youth, like, travel team, probably predominantly Greco, because it's, like, such a small community here in America. But that's my plan once, like, I retire and I do all that. I would like to have my own travel team, take the guys to different places overseas and junior world championships and stuff like that, and just kind of focus on the youth.
Cool. How did you first get involved in wrestling? Because you said you didn't start wrestling until high school.
Yeah.
And then what did that road look like to the Marine team?
Oh, man, that's a long road, man. That's a long road. I'll kind of give you the short. All right, so, yeah, obviously freshman year, football season ends. Dad says you have to stay in shape. All right, I'll wrestle because one of the football coaches was the wrestling coach. I started wrestling. My first year wrestling was horrible. I mean, I think I won 2 matches, and one of the matches was a forfeit, by God. But I liked it. I liked the losing and stuff like that because it made me so mad. I was like, man, I have to go back and like wrestle again. Like, I just can't just do this once and, you know, not try to be better at something like this. You know, like, I loved it. So, you know, sophomore year came around. I completely did, you know, 180. I ended up winning like 30 matches that year. And then it just got better and better and better. And then by my junior year, I knew that I was not going to go to college to play football. So I was trying to quit football, but my dad he's all about starting something and finish it. So I kept playing football and I kept wrestling. Yeah, Coach Lakitas calls me a part-time wrestler because he said that I only wrestled in season. I never wrestled like in the summertime, or I never got to go to Super 32 or anything like that. I just only wrestled during the season, like the high school season. Then I get recruited by Lakitas to wrestle at UNCG. I redshirted that year. I did okay, I guess, like for the only person on the entire freshman class to not be a state champion, which everybody thought was like crazy that I was even on the team and had a scholarship. But yeah, freshman year, get there, redshirt, had an okay season. Sophomore year, made the starting lineup, 133. That summer, though, I would say real quick, that summer is like what made me have this giant leap from, you know, not making the starting lineup to like making the starting lineup. Like that summer, I spent the entire summer going from my apartment to the wrestling room to my job, back to my apartment to the wrestling room to my job. That entire summer, like I committed because like I wanted to, you know, be great at this thing. Yeah, obviously UNCG, their program gets dropped. We get dropped from the program. They honor our scholarships. Lukitas takes it upon himself to, I guess, help us further our wrestling career. If we chose to do that with him, a few of us stayed, a few of us didn't. I chose to stay. He got like a warehouse, a bunch of mats. We started wrestling Greco, you know, at first we were wrestling Greco and freestyle, which is exhausting, like back-to-back tournaments. But we did that for like 2 years, and then we started, you know, solely focusing on Greco. Eventually, you know, I broke that top 5 at one point in time. And then the Army calls. I wouldn't say the Army calls, but I call the Army. I get into their program. I'm there for 4 years. I didn't do that well there. That Olympic year, I think 2016, I left the team. And then from there, Lukitas was already coaching at the Marines, for the Marine Corps. And, you know, he was my coach in college. He got me to where I was now. So I called him. I was like, hey, like, is there any type of way that I can wrestle? And he was like, no promises, but we'll try the best that we can. But by the luck of it, it all worked out. And now I'm here wrestling for the Marine Corps. That's the short, I guess.
Yeah. Well, thanks for walking us through that. Was there a learning curve with Greco? Because it sounds like Greco is something that you kind of just picked up during college, if I'm understanding.
Yeah, it was definitely a learning curve. I mean, even during the times my freshman and sophomore year, during the off season, everybody had to wrestle freestyle or Greco or both. But it was definitely a learning curve. And I think we had the big jump actually when UNCG disbanded the team, you know, because we still, even though it wasn't like training with Lukitas was like a private thing with Yes Wrestling, we still treated it as such, like a legit program. Like, you know, we had practice times, like don't be late, you know, we had a certain amount of hours that we had to work out throughout the week. There was things that we had to do on the weekends. We even coached kids and try to get them to come in. That way we can practice with them, have different practice partners. But it was definitely a big learning curve. And I think that's probably why once I made it to the Army team, I mean, at that time, I had been wrestling Greco maybe for 4 years. And I'm wrestling, you know, in the room with Spencer, you know, Spencer Mango, Harry Lester, all these big names, you know, like Jermaine Hodge. Like these guys have been running the Greco world at this time for a long time, and I've seen them. You know, Spencer Mango was actually my first ever Greco match at universities. But
after all,
yeah, it was definitely a learning curve, and I think that's why I had such a hard time, because I think I still needed more development than other guys.
Gotcha. Well, now you have obviously established yourself. You're number 2 at 67 kilograms, an Olympic weight class. So you don't have to do any bumping around this year. But you do have a couple teammates, national team members as well, coming into your weight class. You got, I think Ray Bunker's been hinting about coming down from 72 to 67. And then you got Xavier Johnson coming up from 63 to 67. Does that, you know, make it, how does that change the dynamic in the room, I guess?
To be honest with you, I don't really think it changes the dynamic in the room. We kind of, or at least for me, I kind of look at it as long as one of us make it, you know, we're all about the team. We're all about like one team will fight, and like as long as one of us makes it, obviously like I want to make it. Xavier wants to make it. Bunker wants to make it. That's inevitable, right? Like everybody knows that. Like we all know that. We all understand that. But you know, we're definitely not going to take it easy on each other. We're definitely not going to give each other breaks, you know. But it doesn't really change the dynamic. If anything, it increases the intensity of like, you know, those practices, or especially the competitive practices where you have matches or situational matches and stuff like that. But I mean, it doesn't really change anything. It just heightens it, if anything. But at the end of the day, for me, as long as one of us makes it, hey, that's the goal, is to get a Marine on that team at that weight class.
So 67, I mean, all of the weight classes, especially during Olympic year, are crowded and, you know, just loaded with talent. 67 kilograms is no exception. Alejandro Sancho qualified the weight class. He's going to be sitting in the trials finals. But I'd say most people would consider probably Ellis Coleman the favorite to come through the challenge tournament. But I'd say that there's about a dozen guys who it wouldn't really be shocking if they were in the Olympic trials finals, you know, yourself included. And again, I think if you wrestle that bracket on any given day, it's going to come out a totally different way. What's it going to take for you to be the guy that comes out of that bracket to challenge Sancho for the Olympic spot?
I mean, just doing all the right things, mainly just doing all the right things. And to be honest with you, a little bit of luck. I mean, at the end of the day, like, you have to do the right things. You have to train. You have to take care of your body. And you also have to have, you know, just a little piece of luck, you know, making sure you slip on a arm throw or a step out, you know. Those little things also matter. I mean, like you said, anybody could possibly end up in that, making it through that challenge tournament. Like, not anybody, but a chosen few, you know. But you just have to stay focused and, you know, wrestle the match one match at a time. And don't, for me, I don't like to look too far forward, or, oh, this guy's about to wrestle him, he probably beat him, and then I'll have to wrestle him. I just, one match at a time, you know, get through that match. And then, you know, I'm trying to tell you, everybody's going to need a little bit of luck on their side for a certain situation, a certain call. It's inevitable. Like, it happens with everything. Any match, any finals match, or any match getting to the finals, you just need that little bit of luck, especially with the concentration of like all the talent that's about to be in this tournament. I mean, mistakes are going to be made, and you're going to have to capitalize and, you know, just do the best you can.
So during this kind of, you know, 2020 limbo year with COVID-19, how are you staying physically and mentally prepared?
Physically and mentally prepared. I mean, we're still training. We're doing mainly, you know, track workouts and, you know, working with dummies. But a lot of it is, I wouldn't say a lot of it, a good portion of it is put on ourselves to make sure that we're doing the right things and doing extra workouts on our own because of the restrictions that we have. But I mean, it's nothing. This dynamic that like we're in right now is definitely going to make it like wide open too for the tournament, right? So like, you know, some people are going to be, you know, running more. Some people are going to be, you know, maybe wrestling if they're allowed to wrestle. You know, I'm military, so we're not allowed that contact. All these different attributes that everybody's doing, it's like, it's not the typical way of getting there. So like, even that is going to play a factor in the tournament, you know. But right now I'm just focusing on running, lifting weights, and doing whatever the Marine Corps allows me to do in my limits.
Gotcha. This one could be a tough one, but what do you think is the best piece of advice you've received in your career, or at least a piece of advice that still stands out to you?
Best piece of advice. Don't let other people tell you who you are. I think that is by far the best advice I've ever gotten. is, I guess, like, to better explain it, like I said, I've never been the guy who won Fargo and did this and Super 32 and a lot of people, have told me like, hey, like you shouldn't even be here. Like, this is crazy. Like maybe jokingly, but like, man, like it's crazy that you're even here. Like it's crazy that you even made it this far. But, for me, that's them telling me who I am, like who I'm supposed to be. Like, you're not supposed to be here, but who are you to say that? Like I'm here because I worked just like you, did I have a lot of time? Did I have a lot of experience? No, I got here just like you got here, just a little different, but we're both still here, so don't let people tell you who you are.
So I think, again, not starting wrestling until high school and not starting Greco until in college, to the number 2 guy in the country in the Olympic weight class with a very good shot at contending for an Olympic spot. What do you think separated you from, the thousands of other wrestlers that aren't where you are today?
My mindset, mainly. It's a lot of people can, like win and win and win and win and win. And then like, you have that one loss and then it's like they've won so much since they were kids. It's like they expect to always win, which is good, but for me, I guess like I've lost and I've lost and I've lost and I've lost and I've lost. And, typically, when you get that type of, frustration, you're just like, you know what, forget it. Like, maybe I'm not that good in it. And, you hear other people talk about you or, say things to you or joke about you with the situation. But, and it goes back to like what I said, the best piece of advice, like don't let people tell you who you are. And I think in doing that, like everybody loses, I lost a little bit more than other people, but it didn't break me. And I think my mindset is what like separates me from some people.
Thanks for sharing that, Jamel. Besides not allowing other people to tell you who you are, what's one piece of advice that you would give a younger wrestler or maybe someone that's kind of just starting out in their wrestling career?
Have fun. Like have fun. Don't worry about cutting weight. Don't worry about, obviously you want to win. Obviously you want to be a state champion and stuff like that. But I think one of the reasons why I've been able to sustain, year after year after year is like I enjoyed it. My father was great when it came to sports. Like he never, I guess, like he wasn't the type of dad is like, oh man, like you need to beat this guy and like screaming on the side of the mat. Like, it's like if you lost, you lost. Like, hey, work harder next time, man. Like that's what happens. Like people lose. It's not the end of the world. And it's high school. Enjoy the time, enjoy the moments with your friends, enjoy the bus ride to the tournament, enjoy the bus ride coming back, enjoy running and getting better with your friends and creating new scrambles or, trying to come up with a new move and, and also push each other as collective. Like a lot of teams, sometimes people get pinpointed and it's just like, oh, like, all the tension is like on that one person. But, as a team, you can help other people. Like when I got to the team, I wasn't just trying to be the best that I could be solely by myself. I wanted Bunker to be good. I wanted Xavier to be good because they were around my weight, and if they weren't good, then I'm not going to get any better either. So like, it's a collective effort and, I enjoyed that journey with them, even if they surpassed me, like, so be it. But I enjoyed that journey with them and, just have fun when you're young. Enjoy it.
Yeah. I think having fun with the sport, especially when you're young, has got to be one of the most important things and one of the keys to success, because I don't think too many people end up at your level without loving the sport and without really being passionate about it.
Yeah. And it's hard to preserve in wrestling. I mean, because you got to think about it. Like, it is a hard sport. I mean, a lot of my, once I started getting a lot of success, I had like cousins and stuff like, hey, like I want to wrestle, and they wrestle, and they're like, man, they're like, this is freaking pretty hard. It's a lot different than football or baseball. Nothing against those sports, but like it's hard, and then if you have a parent that's like harping on you about winning and losing and cutting weight and you need to get down to this weight class. And I was like 140 pounds telling my wrestling coach I wanted to wrestle 152. I was like, I just want to get bigger. Like, he's like, I don't know. He's like, you can try all you want, like all you want, but I don't think you're going to ever weigh 152 pounds. I tried. I couldn't get there. But, yeah, I never even cut weight. And I think I first started cutting weight in college because obviously it becomes more severe. Like, well, not severe, but, like, becomes more important. Like, hey, like, this could be a career for you, you know? But that's when I started cutting weight. And it definitely showed because I was not a great weight cutter. I didn't cut weight in high school.
I'm assuming you've gotten a little better at it over the years.
Yeah. Obviously, I wouldn't still be here.
So during those really tough training sessions, or those, those times when your tank is empty and you got to do one more rep, what is your motivation, and what gets you to dig down deep and get it done?
I won't get this time back. This is it. Like, this could be the last practice. I mean, and with this whole COVID thing going on, for me, I kept thinking about the last practice. I was like, man, like, did I go hard enough? Or, but those tough moments where, like, practice is really getting crazy. Like, I'm like, hey, like, you got to enjoy it. Like, you can never, like, you're not going to ever get this time back ever again. This is it. You're not going to get another shot, not another practice like this. Might as well finish it.
All right. Last question for you, Jamel. What is your best wrestling memory to date?
Best wrestling memory to date? Oh, man. This is going to be weird, but my best wrestling memory to date is getting third place my senior year at States. My wrestling coach in high school, he was like a very good guy to me, and like always had my back. And I remember, like, my junior year, he told me, he was like, man, I've taught you everything. I've taught you everything I know, He was like, this is all I got. And, I had other schools want me to come to their school my senior year. And I was like, hey, like, we definitely make you a state champion. And once I did that, it wasn't even for me. Like, I just wanted to do it for him. Because, like, he hadn't had a state champion or a state placer or anything, like, within his career. And he did so much for me. Like, I felt like it was my duty to get him a medal. Like I could not leave high school. And I went 3 different times. I went to states 3 different times. But even though I got third, I was proud to get him a medal for all the work that he did with me and all the commitment that he had with me. But I know it's like a minuscule to some, but that was one of my most memorable ones.
No, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that with us, Jamel. I really appreciate it. And thank you for coming on again, another edition of Team USA Tuesday. Jamel, hopefully we see you back on the mat soon.
Thanks, man. See you later.
Bye.